Hi and welcome to Slick Willy Fly, and today what we're going to do is a sculpting flash, that's what it's called, sculpting flash fiber baitfish. It's very similar to an EP fiber, but I've been using this sculpting flash and I think I actually like it better. It's super easy to work with. It fills the body a little bit better than EP, I think. It's a little bit softer, has a little bit more mobility, sinks good, swims good. I love the colors that it comes in. So yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. Today, I'm not having my traditional rum and coke. As you can see, I'm having a nice single malt. I got this beautiful Balmore from my kids for a birthday present. And yeah, I mean, you know, if you watch my videos, you know I'm a predominantly rum and coke guy. I love my bourbons, bourbon and Diet Coke, rum and Diet Coke. But today we're enjoying a nice single malt. So for materials, I'm going to use a B10S Stinger in a size 2. This is actually not a big fly. I would say it's about 2 inches, maybe a little over 2 inches. For colors, I'm using what they call natural body in this white. It's natural belly. I apologize. And this brownish tannish color is actually called Camo, which I love. I love the way this is looking. Now, you know, like many materials, you can get this in all different kind of olives, greens, tans, black, orange. It just comes in a huge variety of colors. So the colors are great. The material works great. I haven't tied one of these baitfish in a long time. Super simple. Let's change the camera angle. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Have a sip of your cocktail. And let's tie a fly. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The tying portion of this video is going to be fairly short. This fly is really simple to tie. Here's a B10S Stinger like we said. I'm going to go ahead and put a tiny bit of super glue on this hook. Oh, and I guess I didn't mention I'm going to be using clear mono thread. This is the Veevus monofilament thread. But you can use any thread, including colored thread. I like the mono thread because it's clear. The whole point is that it's clear. Now, monofilament thread is very slippery. It's not the easiest thread to work with, but really it's just a matter of getting used to it. So while I let this dry for a second, we could talk about the fly. So what I was saying is that this fiber, it packs nicely. You know, a lot of times when I use UV resin, when I use EP fibers, you see the hook shank. The way that I tie this fly, it just does it. Sometimes you see the hook shank if you're not careful, and that happens a lot less, I think, with this material. It also swims very good, sinks very good, performs exactly the way I would like for it to perform. And that's good. And I just love the colors. If I had one complaint, it would be it's not so easy to get the fibers out of the package without destroying the package. But you learn to live with that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I've pulled out a few clumps and I've pre-prepped them to make this go quicker. Basically, I just take out a few sparse strips and then I cut it into sections, manageable sections. The very first section that I'm going to put on is the overall length. So this is the tail of the fly, and I'm going to make this the length that I'm looking for. So right now I'm about 1.5 hook shanks is going to be my tail, and You don't have to do it this way, but I find it, you know, easy to trim it to that fishtail point that I'm looking for. So I am going to cut this tag end off. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing in white. And to make matters a little bit easier, now I actually have a guide. So I want to make the bottom just a hair shorter than the brown. Got a couple of really wild long hairs here. Give it a little trim, make that look a little nicer. But I really like this natural belly color. I think it just looks sharp. So the exact same tie-in point, and locking that in nice and hard. Give this little tag a little swirl, tighten it up, and trim it off. Okay, so now I'm just gonna bring my thread up to about where I've cut those off, and since I'm in this orientation, I could put another clump of white on. The pieces that I'm cutting, I'll try and show it to you. This is the piece that I'm using right there. It's very thin and it's not very long at all. We're going to do quite a bit of trimming on this fly. So I'm just going to place that on the hook, on the bottom of the hook, about the center point of that clump. Making sure that that white is only on the bottom, and just crank that down, fold it back, split the hook. We'll do a little bit better with a needle later. Couple wraps right in front, and then I put 1 or 2 wraps right on that white, just like that. Flip this over, take a needle now and distribute a little better. No worries, this is all going to get distributed better soon. So now we take another section of the tan, and we basically are just going to repeat this process several times until we get to the eye of the hook. So most likely, after I do this tan, I'm going to fast forward a little bit through this video, because it really is just repetition. The best and most important tip I can give you is just take your time and keep these colors nice and separated. Just like that. Beautiful. Looking beautiful. And I got some wild hairs. Okay, so that is basically the tying portion. So now I'm going to put a little whip finish in. And I'm going to do something that I didn't do in the first fly that I showed you earlier. And I'm going to start red thread and just make a little bit of a red head up front here. Okay, so this is actually not necessary, and it's just a step that I want to take because I think it's going to make, oh, my thread broke. I think it's going to make this this fly look just awesome. Having this little red front. I could have done this with white thread and a marker, but I have this red thread and it's actually not been a very good spool, so I'm not going to tell you who it is because I've had good luck with them usually, but this particular spool has been a nightmare. I don't really know why. So I just want to make the whole front here red because this will show when I make my UV resin head. Do a little bit of trimming. A little wild fiber there. Okay, that's starting to look pretty good. So I'm just going to put a whip finish in. And we're going to cut it off. Now, you can do the eyes first or you can do the trimming first. I prefer to do the trimming first. So for trimming, you just bring out all this fibers and then you're just going to start trimming into the shape of the fly that you're looking for. It's very difficult for me to trim with the fly in the vise, so I think I'm going to go ahead and change the camera angle and then we'll trim. Okay, so let's go ahead and move this a little out of the way. Basically, I take the fibers and I just kind of bring them straight out. I know this looks crazy and looks terrible, but that's where I start. And then what I do is I start taking some of the really obvious pieces out. Like obviously the hook needs to get exposed. So I'm just going to come in here and find the hook and start giving it a little bit of a baitfish kind of a look to it. Then I essentially do the same thing on the opposite side. You know, a lot of people are terrified of the trimming, and there's really no reason to be. You know, obviously the more you do it, the better you'll be at it. I use my fingers kind of like a guide. So I put my fingers at about the thickness that I'm looking for. So now I know that I'm not really going to cut too awful short. And you can see how just 2 cuts and I've already got quite a bit of that shape started. So again, we're going to continue working, trying to expose this hook. The hook is the hardest part. I mean, there's just no question about it. If you could do this without the hook, the top side is much easier than the bottom. So you have to have, I generally have a couple of pair of scissors and a cocktail. And I always know that fish are not geniuses. So if I'm off a little, if my trimming isn't exactly perfect, yeah, it still catches fish. Alright, let me get my little trusty vacuum out. Now, this fly would fish exactly the way it is. No question about it. But I'm going to go ahead and put some eyes on. And for eyes, I'm going to use these little, they're not big, they are 5mm. I'm going to use yellow. I just feel like it. You can use red, you can use silver. I mean, you can use stick-ons. I'm using epoxy. You can do pretty much anything. So my point is going to be right there, just behind the red, and I'm going to go ahead and place the eye right there. I'm going to use the hook shank as my center point. So I'm going to put just a little drop of super glue there, just to help it stay on. These are very small, so I try not to use my fingers, or as little as possible. That came out pretty much perfect. So before I move this too much, because I know I like it, I'm going to go ahead and put a drop of UV resin on it. Remember, when you use resin, you're not in a rush. You're really not. It's not going to move until you zap it. So all I'm doing is putting a drop on the eye itself, and then I'm letting it run off the eye and onto the fibers. And when I'm happy, I just zap it. That eye is now pretty much bulletproof. I'll probably put a tiny bit more, and then we'll do the other side. Perfect. Now we repeat the process. You know that anyone who saltwater fishes should have these little baitfish patterns in their box. It's just, they're awesome. The profiles are just, they're so easy to make, so simple to match the colors of the bait fish in your area. But like this little white belly, dark top, it could be tan, a little bit more tan, it could be more olive, it could be darker. I mean, I don't care where you go on the planet. This is pretty much a bait fish pattern that you just see everywhere. So the last thing I'm going to do is put a little bit of resin on the knot. I just want to make sure that this knot is not going to go anywhere. Just like that. Perfect. And now this little fly is pretty much bulletproof. And it's got that little red hot spot. You know, when I see that little red, I think of, I'm sure, well, I hope you guys have seen when you have live bait like mullet, for example, in a bait well, and they've been swimming around in the bait well a little too long, and they start to get a little banged up, how they get a little red in the front. I think it's just an indication of a little bit banged up bait fish, and I think it helps like a trigger, or maybe it's just a point of focus. But I just love it. I think they work great. So I've had success with it. So I'm a little bit superstitious, like a lot of fly fishermen or fishermen. And once I have success with something, I tend to stick with it. So that's the Sculpting Flash instead of EP fiber bait fish. Super simple. I think it comes out great. You can make them shorter, you can make them longer, you can make them fatter. They got a great little profile. They've got good action in the water, swim good, durable, easy to work with. Materials cost pretty much exactly the same as EP fiber, I'd say. It's not that I'm against EP fiber, but right now I'm just into these. You know, what can I say? So thanks for watching. Hope you're having a cocktail. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And good luck catching. See you on the next video. Cheers.